I had written the part of Uncle Pete. Actually, I wrote it for Joe Pesci.
Right.
That's who I had in mind, and I got Joe Pesci's phone number. My manager got it, and I called him. He said, "Where the fuck did you get my phone number?" The first thing he said, "I don't know you.
Yeah.
I don't know you." And he said, "I watched some of your stuff after I got," because I left him a message. He said, "I watched you stand up, which I can tell you're just trying that, and you're no good at it." He told me you're no good at stand up. He said, "Quit that now."
Oh my God! Is he kidding?
No, he was being serious.
You stupid fuck.
He said, as an actor, you're okay.
Right.
But the stand-up, you get out now.
Were you looking
for you?
You weren't looking for an opinion, were you?
No, I wasn't.
What is that? Is the greatest story I ever heard.
It was the greatest phone call of my life. I was so happy.
What do you think was behind that? Do you think he
doesn't think I'm funny?
You don't look like a beginner.
But no. I mean, if he looked you up, he'd see that you do have
he
something.
He didn't look that far. He saw what he saw. You know.
Right.
He watched a little bit of my stand-up. And he said, "But I'm calling to tell you, and I don't want to do your show, but I just want to give you a little cheer and tell you, as an actor, you got a future if you stick with it." That's what he said to me.
Now,
and I said to him, "Joe, you have to let me pitch my show to you." And I actually went to his house in New Jersey, and we talked about. He liked the scripts,
yes,
and he liked what I wrote for him. And I was there for a whole day and night at his house.
Wow,
great guy! I had a great time with him.
And the answer was still no.
He said no, but while I was there, he lectured me about don't ever eat a woman's pussy. He gave me this whole thing about never go down on a woman
because of that throat cancer, right?
No.
Why not go down on a woman?
Because it makes you beneath her, and you can never rise above a man. He said this whole thing to me.
You got a point.
And I said to him, I need to write that into this show. And he let me have it, and it's in the show. Yeah. But in the end, he declined to do the show.
I thought Joe Pesci was saying, let's not have don't eat a woman's pussy because there's these. The HPV, the virus, and Michael Douglas said he got throat cancer from eating pussy.
So. I don't know.
Will you eat pussy now, or will you listen to Joe Pesci?
It depends on the pussy.
Yeah.
It depends entirely on the pussy.
Did anything prompt him to say that, or it just was...
I don't remember how the conversation got there, but everything he said to me was great.
Yes.
And so he said to me I was welcome to the material for the show, which I did use.
The pussy material.
Yeah, and then he decided not to do it because he doesn't love being famous, and he only works when he wants to. He's living his life. He's not turned on by, he said to me in the end, I think your show is going to be very successful, and for that reason, I'm declining.
That's too much for him.
Isn't it amazing, though, that he had you to his home, and you spent
lovely guy.
And you slept over, I guess?
No, I left him pretty late, but I left eventually.
And what goes on for the full day? You mean you're constantly pitching, you're
dinner, hanging around, smoking cigarettes, and he said to me, "Don't ever let anybody tell you these are bad for you. That's a lie."
Oh my God.
Did you put that in the script?
No, I didn't. But
that's a word of wisdom.
That's a character.
He took me up to his he got a room where he's got a lot of his cool stuff, and he handed me. He said, "When I was a young actor, Liza Minnelli let me hold her Oscar." As a good luck,
right?
And then he handed me his Oscar, and he let me hold on to it. He's a very nice guy,
sweet guy.
Yeah,
and what an actor.
One of the best ever, and one of the funniest guys that ever lived.
And isn't it interesting how he's able to say no to a lot of things? Like he doesn't want to be famous.
Doesn't feel
because
I
was going to say, what is he busy doing that he couldn't be in your show?
Turning you down.
He likes his free time. What does he do? Play golf?
He's got his family. Yeah, he plays golf. He's got his family over for dinner every night. He's got a daughter who he dotes on, who he just loves. And he loves his family. He takes care of a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's what he does.
Do you think he's an actor, or is he really that guy, Joe Pesci?
No, he is a great actor. He talked to me a lot about acting and what he calls it behavior, not acting.
Right.
And he talked about what it takes out of him to play these guys. And it's a draining thing to him. So he takes it very seriously. It's not a joke to him.
Guys who take it seriously probably have so much anxiety acting. Like if you were to interview Joe Pesci, you'd probably find out that he's just filled with angst no matter how successful he is.
I think that's true.
What a shame, too, because I'd love to see it.
Great.
Yeah. But so
thought about the other idea I had loosely years ago was Joe Pesci should be in a sitcom. That was another idea I had. Joe Pesci should have a sitcom.
And you met him, right?
Well, this is before I'd never met him.
Right.
And so I created the character for him being Uncle Pete. Started to try to get Joe Pesci to do it. I went to his house.
You did?
I went to his house in New Jersey.
Now you're at a level now where people are like, you're a guy.
I can get folks on the phone, yeah.
Yeah, so you go to Joe Pesci's house.
I went to Joe Pesci's house. And
that must have been great.
It was one of the greatest things ever. Yeah, it was really great. And then Joe Pesci passed. And
what was it like hanging out with him?
Joe was, he's a very raw human being.
Yeah.
he gave me a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he goes, don't ever let anybody tell you these are bad for you. That's a fucking lie. He really thinks it's a lie that cigarettes are bad for you. And I spent time with his family, and he takes care of them. He's a caretaker kind of a guy, but he's also fiercely protective of his privacy. He doesn't like being famous.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy. I mean, all I know is my time with him. I had a great time at his house. He's really hosted me nicely. Gave me a lot of advice, very paternal advice. Talked to me about the character at length of Uncle Pete. And has eventually passed and said, you can have everything I've said to you. And
Did it help you?
Yes, there's a huge monologue in this show by Alan Alda, who plays the part I had written for him. That is, Joe said that to me about going down on a woman, about oral sex. And I just couldn't believe it. When he said it, I was like, Joe, that's going to be in the show. And he goes, yeah, you can have it. And I sent him, after he said no, I still sent him a couple of scripts, and he would call me and he'd go like, listen, you fuck. Like he called me one day, you dummy, you're going to write Archie Bunker again? This fucking character has no depth. He's a fucking idiot, and it's been done. So are you going to listen to me? I'm like, yes, Joe, tell me what's wrong with Uncle Pete. And he'd tell me stuff, and I learned from him. It was great. Anyway, then we killed Uncle Pete, and him telling Pete about eating pussy is his last words was all Joe Pesci's thing. But he turned it into this thing. Joe Pesci started by telling me you don't eat pussy because it makes you into a schmuck, and even women that do it, he doesn't like them. But then he says, but that's because love is you face each other and you come at the same time, and nothing is and nothing else is worth it. Hold out for real love. Joe Pesci said that to me. And so for Uncle Pete to say that to him, don't ever do that, son. Don't ever eat a pussy. And then he shoots himself. And I'm sorry for the spoiler for whoever's